I asked 100 successful Nigerians what they did with their first 1 million. 67% gave the same answer, but 23% did something completely different and became millionaires faster. Here's what the data shows. Your first 1 million is a psychological milestone. How you handle it often determines your financial trajectory. Today, I'm sharing research from successful people plus a framework to help you decide how to spend that first 1 million. Fun fact, the fact that you make $1 million does not make you a millionaire if you do not know. Most of the billionaires that we see, we are not talking about how much they make, it's about how much they are worth. You can make $1 million and spend 999,999. How much would you be worth? 1 naira. And that's the point. So we're talking about how people treated their first 1 million to become successful millionaires in the end. Now, the survey results. Out of 100 successful professionals I surveyed, 67% saved it for emergencies. 23% invested it immediately. 10% started businesses. Now, here's the interesting part. 5 years later, the investors had the highest average net worth, followed by the business starters, then the savers. And it is so consistent. Now, what is this decision framework that I was talking about? Once you make money, right, there are all sorts of choices coming in front of you. The first one is go and throw a party. I just made ₦1 million. Of course, you know that if that happens and if that's all you do, you will just go from 1 million to 900 to 800, and before you know it, you are back to your 100K. So that's one option. But if you decide that I want to use this money to build my future wealth, then the first thing is put that money away. Like, let the excitement wane. Let the excitement wane. That's one. The second thing is take out, if you decide you want to spend out of it, sit down logically with yourself and decide how much you are taking out of it to spend. By the time you start talking about 300K, 500K, you ask yourself, my first 1 million, I want to spend 500K on enjoyment. No, it cannot make sense. And you settle on a reasonable amount, which in my own opinion should not exceed 100K. Now, the remaining 900K after the enjoyment and you have allowed yourself process it, what should you do with it? Invest. Why would I recommend investing over starting a business? Because most businesses, data shows, and this is global data, that only 3 out of 10 businesses cross the 10-year mark globally. Now, if you think about that data and you understand that developed North is a major contributor to that data, and you are in Nigeria, understand that the data on businesses in Nigeria is worse off. So if only 3 out of 10 businesses cross 10 years abroad, in Nigeria, it will be worse. Maybe 1.5. Do you understand? What is the least risky thing to do? Invest. Your 900K, split it across different things. You can put in a savings bond. With a savings bond, current rates on savings bonds are between 15 and 17%. It means that you would, on that 900K, for example, you will be getting almost 100, 120K every year in total interest that you can reinvest. In 4 years' time, in 5 years' time, you would have gotten another 700K just by doing something simple. When you go into stocks and you say, I'm putting that same 900K in stocks, you would get your dividend, especially if you do the big companies that have lasted more than 10 years, right? You would get your dividend for the 5-year period, and in the end, your capital would have appreciated. What am I saying here? That for most people, the risk is that you want to see your money. You want to see it chilling idle in the bank account, right? It is logical, but there's something called inflation. If you leave that money idle in the bank, just watching it, the value is going to dwindle. What do I mean by the value will dwindle? Simple as a bag of rice cost 50K 5 years ago. So if you had 1 million, you could buy 20 bags of rice. A bag of rice on average at the minimum costs 100K right now. It means you can only buy 10. But your 1 million is still complete. That is what happens when you leave money idle in the bank. So my message to you here is to follow the people that know road, right? And we have seen that it works. The most important thing is to understand that there's a time factor in this decision. But the people that we have seen that works are the people that actually took that 1 million or 900K out of it, right? And put it into an investment. Now, if you decide to go the business route, you have to also put effort into it. So you have to think about it carefully. It's not the same as investing and going to sleep. So you have to also understand that beyond the money you are putting in, right, there is a time and an effort part of it that you need to consider. But all in all, the most important message in all this is that you shouldn't leave your money idle in the bank. Either you are investing or you are trading it, you are putting it into something that would bring profit in the future. Don't forget that you can't outsource your health and your finances. You always have to engage. The fact is, you can't leave money idle in the bank. you can't. You can't. Anywhere in the world, not even in Nigeria. Like Nigeria has its own peculiarities, but it's a standard principle. You can't leave money idle in the bank. You have to engage. If you don't know where to start from, start with subscribing to this channel and hitting the notification button so that you would get fresh content from us that would gradually, eventually build your financial money with so that you make better financial choices. See you in the next video. Bye.